My sister spent 3 months pretending to be me, stealing thousands, breaking into my dorm, and trying to get me F-read. Then she showed up with a lawyer demanding I owe her. I had security footage of everything. The mug incident happened when we were 6 years old, but I think that's when I realized my twin sister would always be better than me. At least, that's what everyone kept telling me. I picked rainbow sherbet at the ice cream shop.
Vanessa picked mint chocolate chip.
Mine tasted awful, and I threw it away after one bite. Hers was delicious. Good job, Vanessa, my parents said, laughing. We always knew you were the better twin. They said it like it was a joke, but even at 6, I knew it wasn't. That became the pattern. Vanessa was prettier, funnier, more charming. I was the serious one, the boring one, the one who studied too much and smiled too little. Family dinners revolved around her stories, her drama, her problems. When I tried to contribute, someone would inevitably cut me off to ask Vanessa another question. Fast forward to 9th grade. Finals week. Vanessa had spent the entire semester bragging about how studying was for losers, and she was only young once. I believed her until she burst into my room at 2 in the morning looking for a phone charger. She froze when she saw me hunched over my textbook, highlighter in hand. You're studying? What the hell? I just rolled my eyes and shut the door. For the next 3 days, Vanessa was glued to her books. At first, I was happy for her.
Proud even.
Maybe we could both do well. Then the results came out. I didn't have to ask what she got because she came running up to me, waving the paper in my face like a flag.
Ah.
I got an A+. Let me see what you got. I showed her my A. Just an A, not an A+. She bent over laughing. I knew it. I knew I was smarter than you. The worst part came at dinner. Vanessa had laminated her exam paper. Actually laminated it. My parents didn't even ask about my grade before launching into praise for her. Our dad was beaming, talking about how proud he was, how she could accomplish anything she set her mind to. I got an A, I whispered when the kitchen got quieter. My mom barely glanced at me. You need to start being more like Vanessa. That's when I started withdrawing. I stopped trying to compete for attention at family dinners. I spent most of my time in my room with our cat, Midnight. I didn't talk to them unless I had to. By the time college applications rolled around, I was counting down the days until I could leave. I was sitting next to Vanessa when she got the email from her dream school. She was bouncing in her chair, practically vibrating with excitement. Then I watched the light die in her eyes. Right there in plain red font. Rejected. She cried for maybe 10 seconds. Then she turned to me. Can you tell Mom and Dad that you accidentally deleted my acceptance email? That's why I didn't go. I sighed. I don't know. Thanks. You're the best. She cut me off like it was decided. For the next few weeks, Vanessa was weirdly nice to me. Not normal nice, but less mean than usual. I should have known it wouldn't last. We were at dinner when I asked her to pass the carrots. Why would I pass you anything, you conniving bitch, she screamed. I rubbed my temples. Here we go. Mom. Daisy deleted my college acceptance email and I missed the deadline to accept. My mom's fork clattered against her ceramic plate. My dad spit out his water. We always knew you were jealous of Vanessa, Dad said, his voice cold and certain. But we never thought you'd take it this far. I tried to explain, tried to defend myself. They wouldn't listen. After that, every conversation ended with someone bringing up the college email incident. How I'd sabotaged my own sister out of jealousy. How I'd ruined her future. When I graduated high school, I moved out and never looked back. I didn't come home for holidays. I didn't call. I just ordered gifts on Amazon for birthdays and Christmas and left it at that. Even Vanessa, who never went to college, got something. I figured it was easier than dealing with the drama if I didn't. For years past, I invited them all to my college graduation. It was the first time I'd seen them in person since I left. I met them for photos after receiving my diploma. The first thing my mom said to me wasn't congratulations. It was, that could have been Vanessa. I pinched the bridge of my nose.
Here we go again.
Yeah, that diploma should be mine, Vanessa added. Then they took my graduation gown and cap off me and put it on Vanessa instead. They started taking pictures of her. Of Vanessa wearing my graduation gown, holding my diploma, standing in front of my university banner. When they looked back at the photos, Vanessa noticed my finger covering part of the lens in one shot. You always sabotage my success. Something inside me finally snapped. Oh, sort of like when you got rejected from your dream college, and let me take the fall for it. My parents' jaws dropped. Vanessa's face went white. What are you talking about? She laughed, but it sounded forced, panicked. I looked straight at her. Remember senior year? You asked me to pretend I deleted your acceptance email because you didn't want mom and dad to see you got rejected. Mom stared at Vanessa like she'd never seen her before. Is this true? Well, not really, but kind of, I guess you could say. Dad walked over and hugged me. I'm sorry, he whispered. I gently pushed him off, grabbed my gown back, and drove to my dorm. Good riddance. The next day, I checked my bank account to see if I could afford to get my gown dry cleaned. That's when I saw it. My account had been drained. $213 at the Container Store. $370 at Chuck E. Cheese. Charge after charge after charge. I knew immediately it was Vanessa. I scrolled through the transactions, my stomach dropping with each one. The dates went back 3 months. 3 entire months of her bleeding me dry while I was too busy with finals to notice. My hands were shaking when I called the bank. The representative put me on hold for what felt like hours. I paced my tiny dorm room, stepping over boxes I still hadn't unpacked. When she finally came back, her voice was apologetic but firm. They needed proof the transactions weren't authorized. Without it, I was stuck. I hung up and started changing all my passwords. Amazon, Netflix, everything. Then it hit me. We'd shared an Amazon Prime account back in high school. She must have saved my card information from years ago. My phone buzzed. A text from Vanessa. You embarrassed me at your graduation. Consider this payment for emotional damages. I took a screenshot immediately. Then another text came through. Mom and Dad agree you owe me. I froze all my cards. Started a fraud report online. Uploaded the screenshot as evidence. The Chuck E. Cheese transaction stood out. Vanessa didn't have kids. I called the location, pretending to check on a birthday party reservation. The manager confirmed they had security footage from that date. I drove there immediately. The manager, a tired-looking woman named Vicky, pulled up the footage on her ancient computer. There was Vanessa, clear as day, using my card at the register. She was buying pizza and tokens for friends I didn't recognize. Vicky let me record the screen with my phone after I explained the situation. Back in my car, I checked my email. 3 new messages from my parents.
I didn't open them.
I already knew what they'd say. Vanessa was the victim. I was the villain. Always the same story. My phone rang.
Mom.
I let it go to voicemail. Daisy, you need to apologize to your sister. She's been crying all day. You've ruined her mental health with your lies. Call us back immediately. Another call. Dad this time. I declined it and blocked both their numbers. I needed space to think. The next morning, I woke up to pounding on my door. My roommate had already left for summer break. I checked the peephole, but saw no one. When I opened the door, there was a pile of mail shoved underneath. Credit card rejection letters. All addressed to me. All for cards I'd never applied for. My blood ran cold as I ripped them open. 5 different companies. All applications submitted in the last week. All using my social security number. I called each company, my voice getting more frantic with each conversation. 2 cards had actually been approved before the fraud was caught. Both maxed out within days. Designer handbags, shoes, jewelry. Thousands of dollars of debt in my name. I set up fraud alerts with all 3 credit bureaus. While on hold with Experian, I opened Instagram. Vanessa had created a new account, Vanessa's Closet, Authentic Designer Goods. She was selling everything she'd bought with my stolen identity. I created a fake account and messaged her, pretending to be interested in a Louis Vuitton bag. She responded immediately with payment details and her apartment address. Screenshots of everything went straight into my evidence folder. That afternoon, I heard familiar voices in the hallway. I looked through the peephole. My parents and Vanessa were walking toward my door. How did they even get into the building? They knocked. I stayed silent, recording on my phone through the crack in the door. "We know you're in there," Mom called out. The RA let us in. "Open up." I cracked the door, but kept the chain on. "What do you want?" Dad held up a folder. Vanessa's lawyer drew up some papers. "You just need to sign saying you authorized all the purchases." I couldn't help but laugh. "Are you insane?" Vanessa pushed forward. "Just sign the papers, Daisy. This is getting ridiculous." "You stole my identity." "I didn't steal anything," she screamed. "You owe me. You've always had everything handed to you." "Handed to me? I worked for everything while you." "While you what?" "While I got rejected from college. While you rubbed your success in my face. I deserve compensation. I took what was mine." I kept recording, my phone hidden behind the door. Mom tried to calm her down, but Vanessa was on a roll.
For years.
"For years you were gone living your perfect college life, while I was stuck here. So yeah, I used your stupid card. You can afford it with your fancy degree." "Vanessa," Dad tried to stop her. "What's a few thousand to Miss Perfect? You probably didn't even notice until now." I slowly closed the door in their faces and immediately saved the recording to 3 different cloud services. Their pounding and yelling continued for another 10 minutes before security showed up. That evening, I met with my friend Nicholas from law school. He'd graduated a year before me and was working at a small firm downtown. Over coffee, I showed him everything. "This is serious identity theft," he said, already drafting cease and desist letters on his laptop. "You need to file police reports immediately." We spent 2 hours preparing documentation. Nicholas offered to represent me pro bono. By the time we finished, I had a stack of official letters ready to send. The next morning, I woke up to 17 missed calls from my boss. My stomach dropped as I called him back. "Daisy, thank God. We got a call yesterday saying you were quitting effective immediately. I figured something was off since you just graduated, but HR was ready to process it." My hands trembled. "I never called. I'm not quitting." I figured as much. The person calling didn't sound professional at all.
Kept ranting about how you didn't deserve the job.
"Can you come in today to sort this out with HR?" I drove to the office in my pajamas. The HR manager, Klaus, pulled up the phone records. The call had come from Vanessa's cell number. She hadn't even tried to hide it. "We'll need you to file a formal complaint," Klaus said. "This is serious. Someone impersonating an employee to damage their career." I spent 3 hours in that office filling out forms. They assured me my job was safe, but I could see the concern in their eyes. On my drive home, my phone buzzed with a Facebook notification. My ex-boyfriend from sophomore year, Cole, had messaged me. "Hey, this is weird, but I think someone is pretending to be you on a dating app. They're asking really strange questions about your personal life." I called him immediately. "Cole, what kind of questions?" "Like really specific stuff about your routines, where you keep important documents, if you have any compromising photos from college." I knew it wasn't you, because the grammar was all wrong. I explained the situation. Cole agreed to play along to help me gather evidence. Within an hour, fake Daisy had sent him dozens of messages trying to dig up blackmail material. That night, I installed a security camera in my dorm room and changed my locks. The building manager wasn't happy about it, but when I explained the situation, he made an exception. I also ordered a small safe for important documents. 2 days later, I came back from grocery shopping to find my door slightly ajar. The new lock had been picked. Inside, my room was ransacked. Drawers pulled out, papers everywhere. My passport and birth certificate were gone from my desk drawer. But they'd missed the camera. I pulled up the footage on my phone. There was Vanessa, clear as day, using a key to enter. A key only my parents had. She spent 20 minutes going through everything, taking photos of my bank statements, stealing documents. She even left little notes around the room. "You can't hide from family," on my mirror. "Give up," on my laptop screen. I called the police immediately. Officer Victoria took my statement while her partner dusted for fingerprints. "This is breaking and entering, theft and identity fraud," she said. "With all this evidence, we can definitely move forward with charges." While waiting for the police report, I reached out to Vanessa's high school best friend, Vita, on Facebook. We'd been friendly back in the day, and she'd always seemed to see through Vanessa's act. Vita called me within minutes. "Oh my God, Daisy. I've been waiting for someone to finally stand up to her." She did this to her college roommate too. Stole her credit card and ran up charges, then convinced everyone the roommate was lying. Would you be willing to make a statement? Absolutely. I have text messages where she bragged about it. She thought it was hilarious. Over the next week, I built my case methodically. Bank records, security footage, witness statements, the recording of her confession. Nicholas helped me organize everything into a comprehensive file. Then Vanessa made a mistake. She panicked. She called me from an unknown number. I recorded the call. "Daisy, let's work this out. I'll return your documents and pay back some of the money if you drop everything." Some of the money? I mean, I can't return the stuff I already sold, but I'll give you like half. That's fair, right? Fair? You stole my identity, Vanessa. You stole my life, she screamed. You gotta go to college, get a degree, move away. I was stuck here being compared to you every single day. That's not my fault. Yes, it is. Everything is your fault. Mom and Dad only cared about your achievements. Daisy's doing so well in school. Daisy got another internship. What about me? You could have gone to community college,
Gotten a job.
done something with your life instead of stealing mine. She hung up. The next day, my social media exploded. Vanessa had posted on every platform, tagging mutual friends, distant relatives, everyone. According to her posts, I was mentally unstable.
이게 책체의 가로쇼.
I was making up lies about theft because I was jealous of her. Some people believed her. I got messages asking if I was okay, suggesting therapy, wondering why I would make up such horrible accusations about my own sister. So I posted my own response. The security footage, the bank records, the screenshots, the credit reports, everything. The tide turned instantly. Comments poured in expressing shock and anger. Several people messaged me privately, sharing their own stories of Vanessa's theft and manipulation.
My phone rang. Mom.
I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Daisy. Her voice was small, broken. We saw everything. The footage, the evidence. We didn't know. You didn't want to know. Can you come over? Please? Your father and I, we need to talk to you. To apologize. To make this right. I drove to my childhood home for the first time in years. The house looked exactly the same, but somehow smaller. Mom opened the door with red-rimmed eyes. Dad sat at the kitchen table, looking older than I remembered. The security footage played on loop on Dad's laptop. They'd watched it over and over, trying to understand how they'd missed this. We failed you, Dad said simply. We failed both of you, but especially you. Vanessa was there too, sitting in the corner like a scolded child. She wouldn't meet my eyes. Tell her, Mom said firmly. Tell her everything. And Vanessa did. How the resentment had built over the years. How every achievement of mine felt like a personal attack. How she'd convinced herself she deserved compensation for her pain. How it started small, just a few Amazon purchases, then spiraled out of control. I was so angry, she whispered. You got to leave. You got to become someone new. I was stuck being the failure twin. You were never a failure, I said. You chose to be. Every time you had an opportunity, you chose the easy way out. And when that didn't work, you chose to steal from me. The police reports were filed. The credit card companies launched their investigations. With all the evidence, my fraud claims were approved one by one. The money started returning to my account. Vanessa was charged with identity theft, breaking and entering, and fraud. Her lawyer negotiated a plea deal, community service, and probation, mandated therapy. She had to pay restitution for everything she'd stolen. But more importantly, the truth was finally out. Family therapy started 3 weeks later. It was awkward, painful, full of tears and accusations. Years of favoritism, manipulation, and enabling behaviors were unpacked in that beige office. I always thought I was helping, Mom admitted during one session. I thought if I praised Vanessa more, she'd gain confidence. I didn't realize I was creating a monster and destroying another daughter in the process. The therapist added gently, and teaching Daisy that her achievements didn't matter. Vanessa's individual therapy revealed deeper issues: anxiety, depression, a personality disorder that made her feel entitled to what others had. It didn't excuse her actions, but it explained them. Slowly, painfully, we rebuilt. Not the family we'd been, but something new. Something with boundaries, accountability, and truth. Vanessa got a job, started community college, began making her own life instead of trying to steal mine. I kept my distance at first, showing up for therapy, but nothing more. Trust, once shattered, takes time to rebuild. But gradually I saw changes. Real changes. Vanessa apologizing without expecting immediate forgiveness. My parents calling to ask about my life without comparing me to anyone. Family dinners where my achievements were celebrated instead of dismissed. It wasn't perfect. Some days were harder than others. Some relatives still believed I'd overreacted. Some friends chose sides. But for the first time in my life, I felt free. Free from the toxic dynamics that had defined my childhood. Free from the constant comparisons and manipulations. Free to be myself without apology or explanation. The girl who'd been told she was less than, who'd been blamed for her sister's failures, who'd had her success stolen and twisted, was finally standing in her own truth. And that truth had set us all free. 6 months into Vanessa's probation, I was sitting in my apartment when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Daisy? It's Vita. Hey, what's up? I just ran into Vanessa at the grocery store. She asked about you. I tensed. What did she say? She asked if you were doing okay, if you were happy. She didn't ask me to pass along a message or anything. She just asked, like she genuinely wanted to know. After we hung up, I sat there for a long time, thinking. Part of me wanted to stay angry forever. It felt safer that way. But another part of me, a part one didn't want to acknowledge, was tired of carrying all this weight. The next family therapy session, Vanessa showed up with a folder. Not a legal document. Just a notebook. I've been keeping a journal, she said. Like Dr. Martinez suggested. Writing down every time I feel entitled to something that isn't mine. Every time I want to blame you for my problems. Every time I compare myself to you. She opened it. Page after page of handwritten entries. Some dated back weeks. I had no idea how often I did it. How automatic it was. Like you existing was somehow a personal attack on me. She looked up, and for the first time in years, I saw actual remorse in her eyes.
I'm sorry.
I know I've said it before, but I don't think I really understood what I was sorry for until now. What changed? I asked. Therapy.
Time.
Actually having to face consequences for once. She laughed bitterly. And honestly, working retail, having a boss who treats me exactly how I treated you, it put things in perspective really fast. I didn't forgive her right away. Forgiveness isn't a switch you flip, but it was a start. A year after the court case, I got a promotion at work. My boss took me out to celebrate, and over dinner, he asked about my family. It's complicated, I said, but it's getting better. And it was. Slowly. Vanessa had finished her community college degree and was applying to 4-year schools. She'd gotten a job as a shift supervisor at her retail store. She was building something that was actually hers. My parents had started treating us more equally. It wasn't perfect. Sometimes old habits crept back in. But now, when it happened, they caught themselves. Apologized. Tried again. I still had boundaries. I didn't share my bank information. I didn't give them keys to my apartment. I kept certain parts of my life private, protected. But I showed up for family dinners once a month. Answered their calls. Let them be part of my life in small, manageable doses. One evening, about 18 months after everything happened, I was at my parents' house for dinner. Vanessa was there too. We were all sitting around the table when Dad raised his glass. I want to make a toast, he said, to both of my daughters. I'm proud of both of you. For different reasons, but equally. It was such a simple statement, something that should have been normal my entire life. But hearing it for the first time at 25, I felt something crack open in my chest. Daisy, he continued, I'm proud of how hard you've worked, how you've built a life for yourself, and how you stood up for yourself when you had every right to walk away from all of us forever. He turned to Vanessa. And Vanessa, I'm proud of the work you're doing to change. I know it's not easy. I know you're facing a lot of hard truths about yourself. But you're doing it, and that takes courage. Mom was crying. Vanessa was crying. Even I felt my eyes getting wet. I'm sorry we failed you both, Dad said, his voice cracking. We're not perfect parents. We made a lot of mistakes, but we're trying to do better. After dinner, Vanessa and I ended up on the back porch together. It was awkward at first. We stood there in silence, looking out at the yard where we'd played as kids. Do you think we'll ever be normal sisters? She asked quietly. I don't know, I said honestly. I don't know what normal sisters are like. We never were.
Yeah.
She was quiet for a moment. For what it's worth, I really am sorry. Not just sorry I got caught. Sorry for all of it. For making your life hell for years. For stealing from you. For trying to ruin your graduation, your job, everything. You didn't deserve any of that. No, I didn't. I don't expect you to forgive me. I know I don't deserve it. But I want you to know that I'm trying to be better. Not for you.
For me.
Because I don't want to be that person anymore. I looked at her. Really looked at her. She looked different somehow. Less angry. Less desperate. Just tired. And maybe a little bit hopeful. Okay, I said. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Keep trying.
That's all anyone can do. It wasn't a fairy tale ending. We didn't hug and cry and suddenly become best friends. But it was real. And maybe that was better. I drove home that night thinking about how strange life is. How the sister who tried to destroy me had, in a weird way, set me free. Because standing up for myself, fighting back, demanding better, that had changed me. Made me stronger. Taught me I was worth defending. The girl who used to stay silent at family dinners, who accepted being compared and dismissed, who apologized for taking up space. She was gone. In her place was someone who knew her own worth. Someone who wouldn't accept less than she deserved. Someone who could set boundaries and enforce them. I still have the folder. All the evidence I collected. The bank statements, the security footage, the witness statements, the recordings. I keep it in a box in my closet. I haven't looked at it in months, but I can't bring myself to throw it away. It's proof. Not just of what Vanessa did, but of what I survived. Some days are harder than others. Sometimes I see a credit card notification and my heart races before I remember I changed all my accounts. Sometimes I hear my parents praising Vanessa for something small, and I feel that old resentment creeping back. Sometimes I wonder if I should have just stayed away, kept the distance, never given them another chance. But then I remembered that I didn't rebuild this family for them. I rebuilt it for me. On my terms. With my boundaries. And the moment it stops working for me, I can walk away. That power, that choice, it's mine now. No one can take it away. Vanessa finished her restitution payments last month. Every dollar paid back. She texted me a screenshot of the final payment with a simple message. Done. Thank you for not giving up on me completely. I didn't respond right away. I sat with it for a while. Then I texted back. Thank you for doing the work. It's not perfect. It's not a Hallmark movie. But it's honest. And maybe that's the best kind of healing there is. These days, I run a small consulting business. I'm doing well, building something that's entirely mine. I have friends, a life, plans for the future that don't involve waiting for my family to finally see me. And when I look in the mirror, I see someone I'm proud of. Someone who stood up when it mattered. Someone who demanded better and didn't settle for less. The invisible achiever isn't invisible anymore. She's standing in the light, and she's not going anywhere.
Alright, that's it for today. See you in the next one.